Okay, today I'm talking to Pelagie Green, and I've been looking forward to that for some time. Your Instagram feed describes you as a performer, a director, a writer, a printmaker. Other images suggest that as performer, you're an actor, performance artist and a dancer. And then even further images suggest that you're a musician and a photographic model, which is an incredibly wide spread of creativity and, if you don't mind me saying so, a little bit greedy really in terms of coverage. Wow. We met 2nd of August last year, and I took some lovely pictures of you at the Albert Dock, and at the time you had a young baby in a sling.
I did, yeah.
And as you do with these things, I looked at your Instagram feed. One, you look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And some of the images were just stunning. So, so impressed. And 8 months later, here we are making a film conversation.
Yeah.
So, all good. My first question is about this conversation. When I asked you about doing it, you said I'd love to. And I just wondered what was going on there. What was the appeal of doing something like this?
I think for me, I've just recently been so busy I've almost created a tiny little world for myself in Liverpool, and it's been quite isolating, obviously, through the pandemic and after, but as well, being a mum with 2 small children, and it was really lovely actually of someone to come up to me in person and just ask if we wanted to have a conversation about life and about me or my art, and I just thought it would be a really lovely thing to do. So thank you for approaching me.
Right, and we will come on to talking about the impact of having children on your creative processes. Okay, thanks for that. Number 2, extrovert or introvert?
Oh, it depends. I can be very introverted sometimes. I have moments where I need my space, and I could be in a social situation where I can just, choose to listen. But then I can also go pretty extrovert sometimes, especially at parties. I like to dress up. I like to go crazy. I can sometimes go on the stage and just dance with the performers, and I have definitely two sides.
Who is that woman?
I know. Do you want to know? Yeah. But yeah, I've definitely got both sides. I think my friends would be able to agree with that. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, extrovert or introvert, I would say both, if that's an answer.
Moving on then, how did it all start?
At a very young age, actually, I've always been busy with music, and my father's a musician, and so is his whole family. So I think he thought it was important to introduce music to us, both me and my sister, at quite a young age. So it started off, I was playing the piano at 5, and then I started playing the violin at 8. I stopped the violin because I didn't like the teacher, but then I carried on through the piano until now. I still play the piano. I don't know if you've seen me busk on the bridge.
No. No.
So yeah, I all through lockdown I was playing the piano. So that's been a thing that I've carried on through my life.
I've seen you, his husband.
Yeah,
I've seen him a lot of times.
So yeah, we both busk in Liverpool. We take it in turns.
Right, I've never seen you.
Oh no, yeah, I play classical piano, so mainly my own music. So that's where we met on the bridge.
There's a story. So you met on the bridge?
Well, we met on the bridge. Oh. But Stevie and I met in London. So yeah, I then...
we met on the bridge, not you.
Yeah,
I thought there was a story there.
Yeah, imagine it was like the bridge where we play and where we met. That would be quite funny. Yeah. So yeah, and then I got interested in movement. I went into gymnastics, got into gymnastics when I was about 8, and I really, really wanted to be a gymnast. That was like my main focus. And I was doing competitions. I was at quite a high level at the age of 16. And that's what I wanted to be.
How high?
I was asked to do competitions in Belgium. This was it was called Algemene AGD, Algemene Gymnastics voor Dames, and but sadly I had an injury and I had to stop. I hurt my foot, and then I focused more on dance, and now within my work you can see that I can combine gymnastics and storytelling and dance and theatre and music, so it's all kind of combined in one. All my interests have just kind of gone there, and there you go.
Right. And then the next step then, after sort of 60, when did you come to the UK?
I was born in Walthamstow in London, and then I moved to Belgium, and then I came back when I was 18, and I trained at East 15 Acting School on the Contemporary Theatre course, and I did that for 3 years. So yeah, I was 18 when I came back to London.
Right. Okay. We'll come on to what you're actually doing now shortly, but
sure.
You've actually mentioned it, but parental influence. In correspondence, I knew that both your parents were artists. What do they do?
So my mother is a medical artist, so she is very busy with the human body and does very detailed illustrations of the human body, uses very fine pencils, and then she also makes quite large sculptures, quite realistic. Some of them are quite confronting, I would say. And her work has really inspired me in many of my performances, in my solo performances, for example. And to the point where my new work that I'm going to be working on a one-woman show, which is all about dealing with the physical changes of being a mother, the mental changes as well. And I'm going to be I'm going to actually be working with my mother, and she's going to be making casts of my face, and I'm going to make a puppet, a life-size puppet, with the help of my mum. So it'll be quite anatomical. So yeah, I think growing up in a very creative atmosphere, my dad's a poet and a sculptor, and his work has really influenced me as well. So they've had an enormous impact on my life, but also my artistic choices and just the way I create. And I actually wrote a show called The Knee Jerk of Sloth, which is it was kind of autobiographical, and it's set in a glue factory, and the place where I lived in Belgium was in an old trouser factory. So it's kind of not quite the same, but it's very much based on my upbringing, and every character are different personalities of my life, but definitely one of the characters is very much based on my dad, just because he's such an amazing personality, and he's definitely influenced in that way my work.
So no hint of rebellion by not being artistic or creative?
Well, actually I had to I really wanted to be at some point I really wanted to be a doctor, and I studied Latin and everything, and science, and then at 16 I thought I wanted to go to art school, and I kind of had to beg to go to art school because my parents knew that it was going to be a really hard life. You know, it is a hard life. And my mum gave in, and she was like, okay, it's going to be hard, but if you must. And I don't think I had a choice. Like, I was definitely just going to go. But yeah.
It would have been interesting. Our Pelagie's a doctor. She's such a disappointment to us.
I know. I know. It would be
not remotely artistic. Did I get that, Pelagie?
Sorry?
Is it Pelagie?
Pelagie, yeah.
Pelagie.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question then is, what area of all of that catalogue of creative sort of areas is the one that you devote most time and energy to, or is it all just one sort of beautiful mishmash?
At the moment, actually, like right now, is that I've been writing a lot, and I've started. I met this lovely lady, Beth, who introduced me to her writing collective called Inktown, and I've been writing a lot. So that's something that I've been busy with recently, poems and short stories and plays. So that's at the moment where I've been focusing a lot on, and also printmaking. So it's quite interesting how I went from movement and performing into more focused on my own thoughts and smaller things instead of being on stage.
So it's almost extrovert coming introvert.
Yeah, you could say that. You could definitely say that. Although I'm always ready to get out there and go mad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny how maybe at the moment I've been busy with just been thinking a lot and writing them down, writing my thoughts down for sure.
And is that sort of longhand or computer or
in my book, my little book?
Right.
Yeah. And then sometimes I type it and I send it through to friends, and but I would love to combine the two. I would like to make a little book of my prints and my writings. I don't know if there's no like ultimate huge plan there, but it would just be nice to have it combined somehow in a little book.
Right. Self-publishing.
It's hard.
What if you want to publish a book for yourself? For yourself?
Yeah, just for
one copy. It's easy
it's
as anything.
Fine, yeah.
And I've done that a number of times now, and just loved it. It's been a great experience. But
just to have it like a physical copy of something that you've done, instead of it being scattered everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So writing is a big thing for you at the moment.
At the moment, yeah.
Directing. Just tell me about your sort of experience as a director.
Yeah, so the first show that I directed was my own show, and it was a show that I wrote after graduating. Well, actually, the last year of being at East 15, and we were almost encouraged, or we were encouraged to direct other people's writings and or your own writing. So I'd actually never directed anything before, and I really found my love that year of like, oh my god, this is amazing, you know, you can, it's like you're God, you know, like when you just stand there, and it's just so freeing for me to direct a show, and it has a real sense of magic because you can add so many beautiful things to bring something to life on stage. So it was amazing for me to direct my own writing, especially because you have it all in your head and you can see it all in your mind when you write, and doesn't necessarily come on stage always, but this time it did, and we took it to Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which was amazing, really difficult, but yeah, that was a show that I'm very proud of, and we were it was also through devising that we created it together, really. I've directed a few one-woman show by Tea Time Story by Heather Lai, and that went to Camden Fringe Festival, which I loved as well. So at the moment I'm working on a one-woman show with a Belgian writer called Diana, and it's a very personal performance for both of us, and I'll be directing that, but at the moment I'm still translating it from Belgian to English. We're translating it together, and yeah, it's something that I feel I really love, and as I said, I feel like it just gives me a real freedom to just work with people and collaborate with other artists and performers, lighting designers, set designers. It just becomes like a real collaboration, and yeah, something I just love.
So what you're describing there is a joy coming from, so there's not a torment there. No. Is it all sort of pretty much positive when you're working? And
yeah, definitely.
So it's not you're not the tormented artist of.
No, I mean I can't. Obviously I can sometimes go woe is me, you know, like when I write. But if I can, if I've got a stage, and it literally, if I just have a stage and a spotlight on me, I mean, there's nothing better almost,
you,
like
so
on me,
the extrovert,
or like of course, and then or just working on a project in a creative way. That's all joy for me. Definitely.
Lovely. Okay.
I sounded so vain, like spotlight on me. I was like such a thespian thing.
I did one of these conversations with a lady called Anna. She's Polish, and this thing about being in the spotlight.
It's almost addictive.
I think so. She's a performing artist and a model. That's very spotlighty, isn't it?
It really is.
In a way that you are as well. Yeah. Okay, so we touched on this. How did becoming a mother impact on your creative work?
Hugely. So it worried me actually when I got pregnant that I wouldn't have the time to create anymore, and I knew that being a mum was going to be very intense, and it is. I mean, I love it. It's amazing. I've got 2 young children, and time is really difficult just to find time to create anything. So in that sense, it has really impacted my creativity. I have used it a lot in as a model. I've used it like being a mum. Yeah. I have had many photographs taken of me pregnant.
Leave that for the moment.
Okay,
because we're going to come on to that.
Yeah. So in that sense, I have used physically. I have used myself as an inspiration, if that makes any sense. So with my printmaking as well, I have a lot of ideas on what I want to be doing with that, like
link to the children.
Yeah, for sure.
So has it changed your course, would you say, in terms of your creativity?
Definitely. I had to, after I gave birth, I really had to recover physically as well. So I had to stop performing, had to stop being physically, physically active in that sense of like the training side. Had to calm down a lot. And I feel like I'm slowly getting my strength back now, but for sure it's taken like 3 years. After being pregnant twice, it's been, I haven't been able to do physically. I haven't been able to do the same things I used to be able to do, like with gymnastics or dancing in that sense. So it has slowed down that side. So it's almost like I had to put a little full stop behind, not full stop, maybe like a little comma, let's take a few years off of like that intense training of like intense dance. So that's probably also why I've been focusing more on writing, and because physically I haven't been able to.
And practically you can write in sort of short bursts. Exactly. Or
when they're asleep in the evening, I could just, when I have my time to myself, I write. Or when they're asleep during the day, or like, as you said, just like in between. So it's become a little bit scattered in that sense. Like so as soon as I have time, I'm like, okay, I usually have to clean the house or something.
What's the inspiration then? I mean, when you talk about your writing, where does the creativity come from?
That's a really interesting question, because sometimes it surprises me myself. Like when with the writing collective, for example, we give each other prompts, so it could just be one word, and it's a really interesting way of writing and just kickstarting anything. It could just be, for example, my hands was one prompt. So it could just, it's not necessarily that inspiration, like you have to think about what to write. Sometimes like I walk down the road and I look at something, or someone is waiting for a bus, and that can spark something,
Just triggers something.
like it can just trigger something.
Yeah.
So it's not like I have one big inspiration from that I go, that, or a sometimes it could be a memory, or a stream of thought, or a dream, or something that someone has said to me. But I do love working in that way of like someone else giving you a prompt, just out of your comfort, like out of your own mind, someone just going, okay, my hands, and then we time it. We write for 5 minutes about my hands, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about your hands. It can just be something that you thought of, a memory that triggers or something. And I really love working like that, and that has really inspired me to keep going. And sometimes I just go, okay, I look at like a sofa. Let's write 20 minutes about a sofa, and the things that can come out, it could be quite absurd. So my writing is quite absurd, especially like my play, which is full of like physical theatre, clowning. I love clowning, and I really like to write about the mundane, the beauty in the mundane, the beauty in sadness, the small things, almost like how pathetic one can be, how pathetic I can be sometimes, how pathetic life can be. And I can always find some kind of humour in it. So my writing has got like this weird twist of like humour, feeling sorry for oneself. All the characters are quite funny in that way, because some of them can be sure of themselves, but then that's quite sad as well. If you just playing with that balance. Melancholy. Yeah.
We talked about the influence from your parents. Who else has influenced what you do?
And
if there's nobody, that's okay.
No, I'm just having
I'll be surprised,
to think
but
here.
yeah.
No, like there's musicians. Many musicians have influenced me. Music influences me. Patti Smith, the way she still is, has really influenced me and her writing. James Thierry, he's a physical performer, a clown, and his work has really inspired me. Samuel Beckett, Nick Cave, Leonard Cohen. I have to think.
That's not a bad collection. It's interesting. Patti Smith. I was introduced to Patti Smith in 1978 by my partner, who loved Patti Smith.
Okay.
And I was okay with her. We've seen her 3 times, but not knocked out until I started reading some of her.
Yeah, her writing
is amazing.
Yeah.
And Just Kids is
one of my favourite books.
Absolutely beautiful writing. But when I photographed you at the Albert Dock, I don't know if I told you this story, you were wearing a cap.
Yeah.
And I'd just read either Just Kids or one of the other ones, and Patti Smith talked about her watch cap.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, watch cap is what you were wearing.
And it made you think, oh no.
It isn't. Your cap was a sort of baker boy cap, when I researched it. And a watch cap is just a woolly hat.
Okay.
And I photographed 2 women in the Northern Quarter in Manchester. And it was great because one of them was wearing a baker boy cap and the other was wearing a watch cap. And that sort of clarified things. So that was just a little sort of quirky thing about Patti Smith. And Leonard Cohen is up there.
His writing is just amazing.
Yeah.
But also like the atmosphere that Leonard Cohen creates as well is something, just atmospheres as well. I get quite inspired by that. Leonard Cohen's writing is just so beautiful.
Well, going back again, at college in 1973, so going back, and I had a couple of friends who liked Leonard Cohen, and I'd heard tiny little bits, and I thought, God, it's just depressing. And then I learned that it wasn't. It was absolutely beautiful, and I've loved him ever since. So anyway, your story. So, is that enough on influences?
Yeah, it's weird when you get put on the spot like that. It's I'll probably think the rest of the day of like, oh yeah, and so many more. Yeah.
Moving on now to your printmaking.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that start, and what's your favoured process?
So printmaking started in lockdown, as I know many people have.
Life changed in lockdown.
Life changed, and like, you know, I was stuck in house. I was pregnant and had a little boy, and many people started new things, whether it was like making banana bread or whatever.
Yeah, or taking selfies.
Taking selfies.
Yeah.
I started printmaking, and I've always been really interested in photography. But this process, how did it even start? I think I was just looking on Pinterest, and I wanted to start making prints for clothes. Making like, and I just wanted to research different ways of printing, and whether, you know, how to maintain a print on a fabric, for example. And I got really interested in that, and that kind of got me into cyanotype. So that's what I do with my prints. It's called cyanotype. It's a very old way of capturing a photograph. It's like a very alternative way of capturing an image on you can capture it on canvas or on wood or stone or paper. I love it so much. It took a lot of practice, which just kept me busy as well. And it's basically 2 chemicals that you have to mix together. You can use plants or flowers, and it reacts to sunlight. So it could be artificial UV light or just plain sunlight. So you can just put the chemicals on the paper, let it dry, and it has to be in the dark. Are you painting them on to the... Yeah, so you have to paint it, mix it. It's all like chemistry, and I just love the whole process. You have to be in the dark, and then you have to let it dry in the dark. And I first started printing, doing sun prints, so using flowers, pressed flowers, and you place it outside in the sun, and after half an hour you have a really beautiful print left on your piece of paper. So then I got into actually using photographic, like negatives. So you print it on negative transparency paper, so you actually then are left with an image, which is a bit harder, but that's what I've been busy with. And what I loved was just experimenting with the timing of it, because if you left it 1 minute too long under the UV light or under the sun, it would get overexposed, because you have to put it underwater as well, and the image slowly appears, which I love. I love that.
Well, that's the darkroom printing, isn't it?
Darkroom printing. So it's very similar to that. Yeah. So you just put it under the water, and you can just see if it's worked or not, and it's so magical. Yeah. You know, especially if it's someone's face, it just slowly appears, and it's all blue. But I want to experiment with toning it as well, because you can tone it with coffee or tea or turmeric or green tea, and you have different tints of colour in the photo.
So you've got the creative side, but also it's very sort of practical sort of chemistry, isn't it? It's just
it's very new for me to be, but I just love it so much. But it is quite it's very different to what I've been doing before, and it's very new still. So I mean, if I have any plans with it, I've been making. Sorry, that's my cat. If you can hear, Donatello. I've been making portraits of friends and giving it to them as gifts. So that's what I've been doing at the moment, making little frames for them, and so most of my friends have got a print of themselves in their house. So
lovely. And do they last?
Yeah, they last. They stay. Yeah.
Great. So it's stable.
Yeah.
Stable chemistry.
Stable chemistry,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
It's fixed in time.
Lovely. So the next question is the big one, really. If art's about expressing emotions and thoughts and feelings and ideas and beliefs, what's your message in your work?
My message, I don't have a clear message, like as a sentence, but I think what I find important in your work, or in one's work, in my work, is to create a world. And if you've achieved that, if the audience, for example with theatre, if the audience can be immersed in the kind of atmosphere that you've created and understand and connect with whatever it is I'm trying to say, because then I feel like I've succeeded if they can feel what I want them to feel. I think it's for people to kind of see a snippet of life. So it's almost like for The Knee Jerk of Sloth, my first play that I wrote, it was just a snippet. There was no real plot. There was no real message. It was just a little story, a little pathetic story of a pathetic bunch of people.
Build it up a bit more.
I know, I'm not selling it very
Terrible
well.
story about some pathetic
I know,
people.
It's just, but it's just, I like to play with that and to show the beauty in the mundane. Maybe I haven't sold it well at all. Is that my message?
Don't go into marketing.
No, I won't. That's not my field.
Yeah.
I just create stuff. I can't sell it.
You used a word there. Well, I'll extend the word to otherworldly.
Okay.
Which leads me nicely on to your Instagram feed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I sort of came up with a list of sort of adjectives to describe it. Sort of beautiful, different, poetic, metaphorical. There's classical elements in there. Is this ringing true to you?
Well, it's all really, really nice, but yeah, I guess. Thank you.
Bit of pre-Raphaelite in there, bit of Bohemian, and a little touch of Dutch masters. So,
Yeah.
and some of the sort of pieces are otherworldly. Some of the photographs, some of the print, and it oozes art and creativity. To me. So the question linked to Instagram, is Instagram significant to your creativity?
I think so. I think Instagram is definitely a platform where you can select images, how it's almost like how you want to be perceived by other people, and it's very much a personal thing that you decide how. It's interesting that you said all those adjectives, all those words, and thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
But yeah, I think it's very important that everyone, whether you're a creative person or not, can just have a little platform, your own individual platform to showcase anything, whether it's your work or other people have their businesses, or it's amazing how you have that freedom now. Everyone can just showcase your whatever you want to show, but saying that it can be addictive as well, which isn't a very negative side of social media, and it's very clever how they've done the stories, and everybody's curious and everybody wants to see what everybody else is doing, so there's pros and cons to it all, but I think it's amazing that it's almost like you've got your own little mini exhibition and it's free, and you can show like with my prints, I've got Bubblina prints, and even though I've only just started, it's like a little collection of photos, a little mini exhibition of like my pictures. It's nice for me as well to see them all next to each other. It's good for my personal step forward, and for other people, and you can share them for other people to see. So yeah, I think it's a very good thing for artists, Instagram, for sure.
Yeah, and I think other people I've talked to would agree with that, and certainly personally, it is addictive, and you can spend more time on it than you would choose to,
definitely,
very easily. But and in a way, I'm not bothered. I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
And if people see it and like some of it, all the better. But the drive is it's a free platform. It makes you think. It makes you coordinate a direction, which is great. So, okay, so that's Instagram out the way, partly anyway. We're coming towards the end, but photographic modelling. I suspect it's not a massive thing for you time-wise, but it's quality stuff. You know, it's the images are. Some of the images on your feed are beautiful. The sort of the one I'll ask you about Danielle in a minute, but the breastfeeding mother is a beautiful image.
It's like a painting, isn't it? She's amazing. Yeah.
She is.
All her work is
very
just,
clever lady. Yeah. So you do what I guess are selfies as well.
Not so much. But I have done. Yeah, I have done that. But mainly, so my sister has always been into photography, and she has always used me as a model, and that's, I guess, where it all started, the modelling side of it. And she always has these. She's so creative as well, and she had these ideas, and she creates like these garments, and is, you know, used to ask me to model for her. So I guess that's where it started, and I learnt a lot from Eloise, and we learnt together. But I've been very lucky and felt very honoured that I've been able to work with such amazing, talented photographers. So yeah, the pictures that you see on Instagram, some are from Daniela van Zadelhoff, who she approached me in an exhibition that I went to see. My mum was exhibiting a sculpture, and I was pregnant, only just pregnant. Was it with? It was with Jeannie, with my first. So, and I was wearing this long velvet red coat, and with silver boots, and I must have stood out.
Yeah, well, like you do.
And she approached me there, and I actually knew her work before, so I was very honoured that she came up to me, and she's taken a series of pictures of me pregnant, and the breastfeeding mother that you were talking about. That picture is hanging on my wall in the living room. I'm very happy I have a copy of that.
Was it just a case of she saw you at the exhibition and thought she'll do?
Yeah, she thought she liked my style, I guess, my look, or something. But yeah, I've worked with Tom Hunter, has taken some pictures of me. Paulina Ottoli, who's an amazing Polish photographer. Right.
I'll look these names up. So. Yeah,
Magda Kuka, who is she's so lovely, and she works with the very old techniques of photography. Eloise has taken some amazing pictures. It was all her, really. Also,
otherworldly ones.
The Paulina Ottoli is the one I think that you're referring to, with the feathers on the hat, and
right. There's a few, but
and I love modelling, and
So how did that work then with Danielle? Did you go over to?
So that's
Holland,
when I went back to Belgium for a while when I was pregnant, to go back to the trouser factory for a while. And she invited me to her house in Antwerp. This amazing studio with like huge photos hanging on the wall, all looking like some kind of painting from the Baroque times, you know, with like beautiful garments and materials, and they were all just there. It was like walking into a personal like exhibition of her, you know. It's like wow.
Vermeer Palace.
Yeah, really, like a little castle. She lived in this castle, you know. Right. Yeah, and I thought we were just going to have a conversation. She was like, about possibly being photographed by her. She was like, right, you ready then?
Crack on, girl.
Let's go, and it was really great. I felt immediately very comfortable with her, and she took some very, like, I was just pregnant, so I was like maybe 3 months pregnant or something, so you could just slightly see a little bump. So she took a few of pictures of me naked and like being pregnant, so it was quite intimate. And I trusted her completely. She's a lovely woman, and then she invited me for a few more sessions. I think she took a few of me pregnant later on in my pregnancy, and that was exhibited in a few exhibitions in Belgium. I don't know if you saw some of it's on Instagram, I think.
I've seen it then.
Where I'm lying flat. And that
dead.
was looking dead, pregnant and dead, very morbid. People found it quite confronting because it was such a big site. Like, it was, I think, 3 meters. I never saw it in person, but I saw pictures of it. But I think it was like 3 meters long.
Right. So that's life size, isn't it? It's bigger than life size.
Yeah. So it was quite surreal actually for me to be in Liverpool, knowing that my pregnant, naked body was being exhibited in exhibitions in Belgium for people to see.
It's interesting that your mother is working in anatomical areas, and so you sort of moved into that as well?
Yeah, definitely.
So is Danielle working on film then, or digital? Or?
No, she's working mainly on. What do you mean, like old?
35mm or old traditional?
No, she's digital.
Digital.
Yeah.
Just class.
Yeah, amazing work.
Real
right?
Class. Yeah.
Amazing. She's done many shows. Just Daniela van Zadelhoff in Paris, and she's been everywhere in America.
So, comfortable experience, enjoyable experience.
Oh yeah.
Did you learn anything through it?
It's always interesting working with different photographers. Some photographers really place you in a position, like, okay, put your hand here, and look over there, and like look slowly, follow my finger, and to like say stop. It's like it's really interesting how different photographers work. But Daniela was very much like she is so talented in that she captures a moment. She would just let you be yourself and put these amazing garments on you, and it's all very casual. Like it's not. She's never like thought it through too much. It's.
Don't
like,
believe her.
I know she
knows exactly what she's doing.
I know she does know what she's doing.
Yeah.
Definitely, like 100%.
Yeah.
But she does it with so much ease. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
it's almost like she just. It seems like she just does it. Like, there you go. And bam, there's the photo, and she edits it whilst you're there. Like, does her magic, and it's finished really quickly, and she's happy with it, and boom, it's out on social media. Bam. Really fast. I was just like, wow. But it was really lovely to be in the room with her, because she would just let you be very much yourself. So she wasn't like, hey, look over there, or do whatever. With the hands, she would slowly like move your fingers a bit, and be like, okay, can you keep it like that, for example? And
would she model the fingers?
Yeah, she would touch them, and like she has a very clear vision, and very
intricate,
beautiful detail work. Everything, all the pictures are like so delicate, so perfect.
Right. Moving on.
I could talk a lot about Daniela.
I could listen. We're coming to the end, but sadly, what's the grand plan? Is there one?
The grand plan, keep going.
Survive.
Survive.
With
just
two kids.
Yeah, just keep going every day. I mean, I'd love to eventually work towards, again, something that means a lot to me. So vague. But yeah, I think I just keep writing. That's the main thing. I think from writing comes a lot of inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I keep writing, I think I'm doing okay. That's not very grand, is it?
It's your plan.
It's my plan.
Yeah.
Just
keep writing.
Keep writing.
Grand plan, keep writing.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Last question then. You've survived. And it's a question that connects all of the conversations that I'm doing. It'd be nice if the cat came onto your knee. I would love that as a... It was on my knee.
What's the ball? Sorry, just keep
Okay.
the camera. Can I go and get
Yeah,
it?
go on. Oh.
Oh, gotcha.
And this is a cat that's featured in a number of images that I've seen. Oh, there we go.
He's gone.
Oh.
This is Donatello. You
Donatello.
can see him.
In all his glorious beauty.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so the question that connects all of the conversations is about the impact of living and working in Liverpool. So I'm asking everybody the question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not bothered whether there is a big impact or there isn't, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to know if Liverpool itself has an impact on your sort of creativity.
What I love about Liverpool, there's many things I love. Mainly the people. I think a lot of people say that about Liverpool, that the people are just so lovely and so inspiring. But I love the River Mersey, and for me, the river is such a big part of Liverpool itself, but also to play along the river. Like I live by the river. I look over the river. I see it when I wake up. I open my window and the River Mersey's
Mhm.
there, and then I busk, play my piece on the bridge. So the River Mersey is such a big part of my life here in Liverpool, and it does something to you. I think living and being close by water and that openness. So for me, Liverpool really has brought an openness to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So just walking along it, it's such a big, broad thing for your eyes to see and for your mind to just kind of suck it in.
So that's almost a physical sort of geographic influence rather than the people.
Well,
but
the people
as well.
As well, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, the river has done something else to me, for sure. Coming from London, especially where everything's like really busy and hectic and like very fast, like the river has calmed me down. Being close to the river definitely has calmed me down. And I used to be quite anxious, could be very anxious at some time, and I could just walk along the river and it would just calm me, even with like walking with the kids, or it could just kind of ease my mind.
That's interesting. So, you're the first person to mention the sort of geographic aspect of it.
Ah, interesting.
It is interesting. Did water play a part in Belgium or not?
No, I didn't live close to the water. No,
Right,
it
okay.
was. I lived near a forest.
So it's just something you found in Liverpool?
Yeah. Yeah, very inspiring. I found. I've written many poems about the River Mersey.
Right. Okay. Well, you've survived.
Yeah.
So it's been an absolute joy talking to
thank
you. And we've covered a lot of ground. It's probably the longest conversation I've recorded.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoops.
But all good stuff. So thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank
Absolute
you.
joy.